What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The office that manages relations with China says Taiwanese government officials will not be allowed to attend a Chinese military parade commemorating the end of World War II. Cadence Caranta has more.
Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council, which manages relations with China, has announced today that it's forbidding local and national government officials from attending a big military parade being held on September 3rd in China. The parade marks the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II and what China calls its victory over Japan in that war. The council is also forbidding anyone that's previously worked in several key fields like intelligence from going, and said it will punish those who don't comply.
承认国防外交大陆事务或与国家安全相关的政务副首长以上人员或少将以上人员或情报机关首长等指标性人员，不得参与中共93阅兵及其官方主导之相关活动。如有违反，主管机关将依据《两岸条例》第9条之3例以及第91条的规定，处以罚锾、停止或剥夺退休、给予及追缴勋奖章。
World War II is a touchy subject across the strait. At the time, the Chinese government was the Republic of China, which was part of the U.S. and British-led alliance. The ROC later fled to Taiwan, and now that's Taiwan's official name, while the PRC was established on the mainland. So today, leaders in Taiwan say China is distorting the facts, as it was the Chinese nationalist forces, not communist forces, that bore the brunt of Japan's war in China. The council says that China is using this narrative to reinforce its One China principle and reassert its claims to Taiwan. And they say barring government officials from going to this anniversary event in China is to prevent China from using this anniversary event to advance its United Front tactics to influence Taiwan. Hank Xu, Fu Huahong, and Cadence Caranta for TaiwanPlus.
A Taipei court has upheld the sentences for 3 ex-military officers convicted of selling electronic warfare secrets to China. One other officer's prison time was slightly reduced. The 4 admitted to transferring the classified information between 2022 and 2024 in return for up to $22,000 US. They each received initial sentences of between 5 and 7 years. All 4 appealed, but only one, a former military police sergeant at the presidential office, had their sentence reduced by a single month. A further appeal is still possible. On the final day of World War II, Japan's emperor made a choice that still shapes Taiwan today. His surrender set off the Cold War, hastened the end of colonialism in Asia, and paved the way for the Taiwan we now know. Bryn Thomas reports from Tokyo.
80 years ago, on August 14, 1945, in the palace behind me, Japan's Emperor Hirohito was about to make a decision that would impact the lives of people in Taiwan, then a colony of Japan. Just days earlier, on August 6, the United States had dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima. On August 8th, the Soviet Union had declared war on Japan, and on August 9th, the United States dropped another atomic bomb on Nagasaki.
Let there be no mistake. We shall completely destroy Japan's power to make war. If they do not now accept our terms, they may expect a rain of ruin from the air, the like of which has never been seen on this earth.
With pressure mounting, the emperor chose to surrender. That decision changed the fate of one of its colonies, one that held an important status in Japan's empire-building ambitions, Taiwan.
Taiwan plays a role from the early years of the Japanese Empire in 1895. It's going to be first a showcase for the Japanese civilizing experiment. They're going to take this backwater, this kind of Chinese backwater, and they're going to model it and make it like modern Japan.
By the end of World War II, Taiwan had been a Japanese colony for half a century, a period of both considerable development and oppression and violence. Many Taiwanese were serving in the Japanese military when the emperor surrendered.
More than 200,000 Taiwanese were mobilized to work and serve in the Japanese military over the period of the war. Records show that a good number of Taiwanese and many of them were well-educated Taiwanese, served as interpreters in southern China.
The war ended Japanese rule in Taiwan, but not the violence. The subsequent Chinese Civil War saw the Republic of China, or ROC, lose control of mainland China before retreating to Taiwan. Its rule began with a brief period of chaotic violence, then settled into decades of quiet oppression.
28所以迄種3月，聽你講就我都台，我都喺台西我都2-3萬嘅，所以過後做一個白色恐怖戒嚴37刀。
迄陣的艱苦啊，偏日本時代佫較艱苦。日本時代你艱苦，日本人也有配置啊米互你。迄陣哦，講好了伊佫無頭無責，有錢嘛無得食米。
The fall of Japan's empire started a new world order, ushering in the end of colonialism in Asia and leading to the Cold War. It also shaped Taiwan's ongoing political landscape, but it came at a great cost in lives. Taiwan lost around 40,000 people in World War II, mostly conscripts and bombing victims. Across Asia, the war claimed an estimated 20 to 30 million lives, with the heaviest losses in China, where up to 20 million died from combat, massacres, famine, and disease. For its part, Japan lost 2.5 to 3.1 million people, including more than 400,000 civilians, with 90,000 dying in the March 1945 firebombing of Tokyo alone.
Captured Japanese films show the Emperor Hirohito surveying the ruins of his capital on the eve of surrender. Wherever he looks, there's nothing but desolation, heralding the end of Japan's opium dream of world conquest.
Although the imperial palace made it through the war largely unscathed, Emperor Hirohito had seen the ruins of Tokyo nearby here and would have carried that memory with him as he made his way to his bunker to record his surrender speech. It aired the next day on August 15, 1945. Japan would formally surrender on September 2nd, and the next month it would lose control of Taiwan. Ryan Wu, Jeffrey Chen, and Bryn Thomas in Tokyo for TaiwanPlus.
Advocates in Taiwan are calling for better recognition of the country's comfort women under Japanese rule. It comes as people around the world are marking a day to remember women who were forced into sex slavery during World War II. Tiffany Wong reports.
请默哀。
Here at the Amma Museum in Taipei, a moment of silence for the country's comfort women, those who were forced into sex slavery by Japan during World War II. August 14th marks the International Memorial Day for Comfort Women, and it's also the 80th year since the end of World War II. Taiwan had a complicated role in that conflict, fighting as a colony of Japan, and after its surrender, being incorporated into the Republic of China, an allied combatant. An estimated 200 Taiwanese young women and girls were recruited as comfort women during the war. The Taipei Women's Rescue Foundation has collected the narratives of over 50 of them, whom they call Amma, or grandmother in Taiwanese Taigi, as their existence wasn't revealed until decades after the war, when they were already seniors. The last of these women died in 2023. Now the foundation is calling for improved education about Taiwan's comfort women for young students.
战争已经落幕了，但是对于受害的阿嬷而言，他们的创伤跟追寻正义的旅程从来没有停止。同时，这件事是台湾历史的一部分，我们认为人民有权利要知道这段历史的真相。
They are also pushing for Taiwan to have a museum dedicated to women's history and women's rights. The National Human Rights Commission says they asked the government in 2022 to provide adequate education on the human rights violations of comfort women. The Ministry of Education did not respond to a request for comment. By sharing these Amma stories, these advocates hope to shed light on the atrocities of World War II and place responsibility on Taiwan's government to promote equal rights to ensure the memory of the country's comfort women is not lost to history. Luffy Li and Tiffany Wong in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
U.S. authorities have reportedly hidden location trackers in shipments of export-controlled chips to detect illegal smuggling to China. A Reuters report says trackers have been concealed in shipments from Dell and Supermicro containing advanced chips from NVIDIA and AMD. It says they're being used to build cases against people and firms skirting U.S. export controls that are meant to keep advanced AI tech out of China. NVIDIA says it does not install secret trackers in its products, while Dell said it was not aware of U.S. government initiatives to embed them in its shipments. Supermicro said it does not disclose its security practices. AMD did not respond to a request for comment. For more on how this could impact U.S.-China AI competition, our reporter Chris Gorin spoke with Taylor Rajic of the Strategic Technologies Program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies.
Taylor, I want to start by getting your reaction to this Reuters report that the U.S. is embedding tracking devices in shipments of export-controlled chips in order to prevent smuggling or diversion into China. Do you consider this to be an escalation in terms of enforcing export controls?
Definitely. I think it's moved to a more covert surveillance side of this. It's also come at a time where obviously the NVIDIA announcement in the last few days has also escalated this as well. I think that the tech competition between China and particularly in terms of export controls and semiconductors has reached a new level that it wasn't at before. And it's definitely an escalation of enforcement of export controls as well.
Does embedding these tracking devices work well? Do you consider it to be an effective strategy to prevent these chips from getting into China?
I think so. I definitely think it's not the perfect strategy, but it's definitely a step in the right direction in enforcing these export controls. The idea of it has been around for a while. The Chip Security Act that was introduced a few months ago definitely spoke about location tracking of, these specific chips to kind of really get to the point of chip smuggling and the issue of it that clearly are falling through the gaps with the existing export control regime that's in place.
This news comes as NVIDIA is trying to clinch a deal on selling its H20 chip in China, even offering to pay 15% of its China sales to the U.S. government. China, meanwhile, is telling its companies not to buy NVIDIA and to buy Chinese instead, saying that American chips have backdoors and pose a national security risk. How do you think this news moves the needle on the H20 debate?
It's a really interesting point for China now, and it either has the decision to continue to use the H20 chips and rely on US tech, which may be at a more advanced level, or if they sort of continue this alternate route of using what might be good enough but not better with the sort of national security concerns that they have. And I think that this is an interesting crossroads for them, and I think that the actions that they take after this will be pretty indicative of how they're going to continue down this route. Personally, I think that they will continue to buy the H20 chips. It was specifically designed for the Chinese market, so it meets their needs.
That was Taylor Rajic from CSIS. Taiwanese electronics manufacturer Foxconn is riding high on the AI boom, reporting a 27% rise in quarterly profits. The firm, also known as Hong Hai Technology Group, is most well known for making Apple's iPhone, but it's also a major supplier of AI servers. It says it expects year-on-year growth in AI server revenue to be more than 170% in its third quarter. However, tariff uncertainty could affect the company's end-of-year prospects, as it has major operations in China. The company is also bolstering its North American operations with new AI server factories in Texas and Mexico. Taiwanese speed skater Guo Liyang has claimed silver in the men's 200-meter dual time trial event at the 2025 World Games in Chengdu, China. Guo completed the final in 17.305 seconds, just behind his Spanish competitor, Sebastian Guzman-Bitar. It is Taiwan's first inline skating medal at this year's Games. The Taiwanese team, competing under the name Chinese Taipei, has so far won 1 gold, 2 silver, and 4 bronze medals. And thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, let's head to Paris, where an iconic museum is hosting one last exhibition before closing for a 5-year renovation. I'm Eric Gao. Take care. We'll see you next time.
For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, download the TaiwanPlus app.